Hello and welcome back to Jocelyn Time. And today I am going to be doing a giveaway and I am going to be drinking juice.
Good morning, everybody. We are together this morning as we move our table. You can see Happy Martin Luther King Day. I don't know if people say that, but we're going to say that. It's a special day. And I have a special person with me, my co-host here, my daughter Jocelyn, who you might already know.
Super loose tooth. It might come out on video.
It might come out on video. She's got a very loose tooth today. It's causing some trouble. We won't show it to you because I know it's not for everybody, but it's a molar that is very loose. It's creating a lot of excitement. So, nope, put it back. Sit down. Go sit in your area. You made me take the secondary chair. All right, we can say hi to everybody so that you could be the queen. All right, good morning, everyone. Let's move this bar over. We need to see really well this morning. It's an important day for us on this show. We have a bunch of things going on today at Ribbon Candy Hooking. This morning is you want to show the book? This morning is our big giveaway for this book, sponsored by Rug Hooking Magazine, Hooked on Words by Ellen Banker. We looked at this book last week. We love this book. A bunch of people entered the contest to win this book. There will be 3 winners this morning, and I'm about to announce them. Also this morning, we will be announcing the next giveaway book for this coming week. So for this month, this is number 1. Number 2 will be announced shortly. There will be 3 giveaways for 4 different books this week. This is only the first. We have a lot to look forward to. Let's say our quick good mornings. See who's here. Denise is here. Denise is here in Texas, thinking good thoughts. Oh, yeah. You know what? Kirsten wrote. She's in Vermont, and she said she's got terrible snow and power not sure, so she didn't know if she'd be on. So I think we were extremely lucky where we are in Connecticut. It was quite snowy late last night, and then it turned into rain, and it's not freezing. So we've just got a lot of flooding and things like that, but not for us personally. We made out like bandits as usual. So here, you go sit right there, my little one. Karen, good morning. Good to see you. Barbara, good morning. Good to see you. I'm going to change these glasses here so I can see all of our buddies a bit better. Denise says, hi today, 61 degrees. Come and visit Texas. We are having a bit of a warm streak here too. Gayla, good to see you. Oh, I hope you win. We're going to have 3 winners. That is a goodly amount. Martha, great to see you. You're in the midst of a big winter storm. 1.5 feet of snow and still falling. Looks beautiful. Thinking of those stuck on highways. I know, ages ago, we'll get more snow, don't worry. Ages ago, the blizzard of, what was it, 78. I remember I was only 6. And I remembered as we were walking through the streets, we lived in East Providence at that time in Rhode Island, that my mom was just jerking my hand every step we took because she said, don't look in the cars in case there were people stuck in the cars. These terrible times. It happened to so many people that their cars were stuck on bridges and things, and the exhaust went right up into the car because the snow was too high, and they kept their cars on to keep themselves warm. Things like this, right, that we have to really be thoughtful about. Now we have a little more information, and the internet helps us out with bad choices. Let's see. And Robin is on. Good morning, Robin. Lisa is on. Good morning. Cold and snowy Pennsylvania. God, I wonder how our buddy Kira's making out, because she's in Pennsylvania too, and she's traveling. I hope it's all right for her there. I didn't even think of that, because she's not like staying put. She's at an archery tournament with her son. Becky, good morning. Great to see you. Kathy, great to see you. From Peace River, Alberta, Canada. Doesn't that sound like actually heaven? It really does. Linda, good to see you. Coffee time again. And a holiday too. I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking forward that it's a holiday. When we planned we're having a little pop-up sale after this too, and Jocelyn is going to help with that as well. We'll be doing that at 1, and we'll be putting up 25 beautiful patterns at 1. So I've given a bit more notice this time, and I'm hoping everybody who wants to jump on, who's looking for mostly small patterns, and almost all of them are $10. It's not an auction. It's just you want it or you don't, and then we move on. So we're doing that at 1. So be looking out for that later too. Beverly, good to see you. Nice day at the beach. Christine, good to see you. Buried in snow. Dave, good to see you. Good afternoon. Everyone's getting like such a mixed bag, huh? Linda H. from windy Massachusetts. Yeah, also crazy windy. Tara, good to see you. Crystal, good to see you. Was just saying I can watch with both eyeballs today. School is back in. That's exciting. Oh, Cindy, good to see you in cold northern Illinois. Oh, thanks, Becky. Look, she says, what a cute little face. Yay, Jocelyn. Well, you know what Jocelyn did last night? You want to tell them what you did at the table with the Sharpie marker?
What did I do? Oh, my mustache.
Well, it was more than a mustache. I mean, it was like your entire face was covered with Sharpie. She gave, well, most of it's off. She gave herself a monocle, a unibrow, a heavy beard, a full beard, and mustache. I mean, it was like mutton chops. I mean, it was really something. And I said to her, I said to her, you know, I don't know if that's going to come out by Tuesday. I know that we have tomorrow off, but you must have scrubbed like a demon, huh? Because it
No,
mostly.
I didn't.
You didn't? It just came off this pretty face, all that ink. It was a crazy amount of face ink. It was really funny, though. It was quite funny. Oh, dear, Doreen, good to see you. Oh, Gami's-on. Oh, you didn't miss us. You got here in time, and you get to see Jossie, too. Teddy was with me yesterday. We didn't run live yesterday, but he was here yesterday, and he wants to come back soon and see everybody as well, get some shout-outs. Love those colorful shirts. How trying to get in the mood for, you know, spring, right? This is one that I made, right?
Yeah.
I make tons of these for Joss. It's like a little fleece from Joann's Fabric, right? Because you get the fleece, and it's like all you need is like not even a yard for someone this size, but it's so cheap when it's on sale. It's like more than 50% off, and then just one little seam and one little seam under the arm. It's basically 4 stitches, right? And you got a nice warm shirt to layer up over something else.
I'm gonna have a kangaroo pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna add some kangaroo pockets on today. I got nothing else to do but you know, sew fleeces. So we'll do that later. Everybody saying hi. Give a shout out. Debbie, good to see you. Snowy upstate. Jill, good to see you. Mount Vernon, Virginia. I love that area so much. Lauren is on. She's catching it for the first time. Great to see you, Lauren. Huge welcome. A little bit crazy today. I don't know why I'm sitting in this chair. It's going to collapse, and they're going to have something really fun to watch on live TV, right? When my seat collapses. Kathy is on. Hello, Kathy, and Nada is on. Good morning. Oh, everybody's giving us updates on how they're doing. There's such mixed weather. Catherine, good morning from California. Great to see you. Joy, great to see you. Joy and Courtney, I was looking for that image because I had it in my head, the image that you gave me, the wild goose chase, because you know I love a wild goose chase. I thought it was a Pears image. Remember the old advertising brand Pears soap? And I looked at a lot of their stuff and I didn't find it. I have not found it yet. We're going to do it in 1 second. Yay. Go sit in your seat. Go sit in your seat. You're getting me all sweaty. But I'm not done looking. We are still looking. Debbie is on. You're getting lots of hellos. Save your tooth when it comes. Yes, she saves it. She puts it under the pillow for the tooth fairy. And then she dictates what she hopes the tooth fairy will bring. So I'm sure that will happen.
Last time I got a bunch of Jolly Ranchers.
Bunch of Jolly Ranchers, right? So that was a super, super good call because then the others started.
And $10.
And $10. It was $5 in my day and it's 10 now. But yeah, I think it's.
And I got some more candy. I think it was like Hershey's Kisses. I don't know.
She makes out like a bandit when the tooth fairy comes, and she hates having. And do you remember that feeling? I almost remember that feeling of having. Don't listen. It come out and then having this like deep hole, right? I mean, it's just. You fool with it with your tongue for a while, and it's just one of those things that you forget how awful it feels. I know Jay has a real thing with teeth stuff, but I kind of forgot about it until I had these guys, and they are going through it, and she really hates it more than Teddy. Teddy's like, you know, it is what it is, but you really.
I got a generator.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. She can't wait anymore. We're gonna generate.
Okay,
where's
so
my
we
note?
got-
Wait. Yep. Okay. Go
We
ahead.
got 64 people
Yep.
who entered.
64
Okay,
people who
and
entered.
generate.
Okay, so wait a minute. We have 1 through 64, and then we'll get back to saying hello. So what is the first number that you generated?
47.
47. Congratulations to Vicki Andrews. There's 3 winners. Vicki Andrews, congratulations. You are the first winner. So just so you know, what I will do, in case you're not live watching, I will send you a message on that YouTube video and say, please send me your information in a PM, because I give that to Rug Hooking Magazine, and then they send the book directly to you from them. So Vicki Andrews, congratulations to our first winner. Give us a second winner.
Also, I entered. I'm 51.
Yes, she also entered. She's number 51. She wants to start her rug hooking library too.
24.
24. What does that say?
That says Nancy
Nancy Thompson.
Thompson.
Congratulations to Nancy Thompson. You are the second winner of Hooked on Words by Ellen Banker. So far we have 2 winners. There's only one left. Shall I give
Please
you?
be me.
Oh, well, you can always look at mine if you don't win. Shall I give you a drum roll?
Drum roll, please.
Here we go.
29.
Number 29, Suze G. G-E-E. Suze, S-U-Z-G. G-E-E. Congratulations to our 3 winners. I will write to you on the thread later today. If you get there first, you can write to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com and give me your address with the title. Say something so you give me a leg up on what it's about. The book. I won the book. And I will forward your information privately, obviously, to Rug Hooking Magazine so you don't have to put your address right there on TV.
I don't know what I'm doing. This is a weird thing that I just put on.
Well, I'm very glad that you created that generator. That helped a lot. So that was exciting. That was the first part of our morning. Now, again, no, we're not going to be doing crazy stuff. Are you going to go off camera for a little while? All right, so let's see. Let me make sure I'm caught up here. Jody, good to see you. Everyone's checking in. Daphne, how are you doing? Good to see you. Joyce, Jose, I saw your name on there. But you know what? For those of you who don't win, there's 3 more books this month that we're giving away. Would you like to show what the next book is?
Next one? Is it that one?
No, it's the one on my lap.
Oh, it's this one.
Right. So hold on. This giveaway this month is being sponsored by Rug Hooking Magazine. As you know, they're giving away 3 copies of each book. The first one was Hooked on Rugs by Ellen Banker. The second one is Portraits by, is it Anne-Marie Littenberg? Yes, it's Anne-Marie Littenberg. So this is the second book that we're giving away. This is the book we're looking at this week. There will be 3 winners for this book too. I haven't made that video yet, so just hang tight on that because we've got our sale in a few minutes. But there will be 3 copies of this book being given away this week, ending on Monday, same as we did just now. So this is book number 2. And again, I just want to remind you, the reason Rug Hooking and I were working together to choose 4 books that worked really well as inspiration books is because our channel is really based on inspiring you, giving you technical information and helping push you and get you going technically.
Can I show them my Poppin' Poppies?
Yep. But really about inspiration. And the 4 books that we're featuring this month are very strong on inspiration books. Jocelyn is showing you her latest pattern that is not out yet, but I'm going to be hooking that shortly.
Poppin' Poppy.
It's called Poppin' Poppy. You got to keep it straight or they're going to get seasick. It's called Poppin' Poppy. It's a nice abstract, as she does. So that's going to come out soon with all of our spring designs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So how about we bust it backwards? Let's see. You're getting a lot of comments, so you little thing. Hey, Susie. Hello, Linda in Missouri. All of our buddies are on. I just wanted to be sure I said hi to everybody. Oh, look at how many buddies are on. Hi, Carrie. Yeah, she's a sweetie. She's a little bit excited, you know. Anita, happy belated birthday. Anita's birthday was this weekend. Happy birthday. I hope it was a wonderful time. Ann's birthday, I think, was Thursday or Friday. So we had a couple birthdays this week. You know, if you're having a birthday coming up and you think of it, send me a message so I can say happy birthday to you. And if you're in our Facebook group as well, which is Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club, let us know so I can post something for you there and we can all say a happy birthday to you. Go shut the door for me. He's on the phone. Go shut the door. Yeah. I'm going to switch seats. All right. So let's look at this book really quickly while we have time because we also need to get set up. Well, we're only off. We're only halfway through the episode. I also wanted to remind you, I keep forgetting important things like this coming Sunday, I am in person teaching beginner class, the Mandala class, at Madison Wool in Madison, Connecticut. So that is this coming weekend. I keep forgetting to give you dates. I'm getting back out there doing live teaching after the holidays. Okay.
I need to.
So I will be there this weekend if you are near at all. Also, I have to give you some other dates. I don't have handy, but I posted in the Facebook group. If you're anywhere near Connecticut, Rhode Island line, that Providence line in the southeast corner, the Woodstock hook-in, which is a big deal, which is associated with Donna Swanson's shop, Whispering Hill, right? Those dates have been announced too. So I'll bring all that to you. It's so hard to think of it But, I've been so consumed with the holidays and not just the one, but, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, coming right up to now. And I'm realizing things are happening again. I'm starting to have some dates coming up and speaking appointments coming up and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to have to give you a good breakdown calendar wise of some of the things that are coming up soon. Claire Murray is coming up soon, right? Our special guest, my idol. We're going to be visiting her the week of Valentine's Day. So that's easy to remember. So that'll be coming up soon. She sent me a beautiful surprise. I just got it yesterday with she put some of her shopping bags in. They're like such nice ones. You can really keep all your supplies in them. And a bunch of copies of her magazine, La Vie Claire, if you remember that publication, it was fantastic for inspiration, and a bunch of other treasures. So we will be going to Cape Cod the week of, get back in there. You're going to knock over the computer. The week of Valentine's Day. To go do an interview with Claire, look at the kits that are out, look at the ones they're about to put out, and see how she's doing, right? That'll be exciting. You love the abstract, Catherine. It's good, isn't it? Crafter's Grimoire Sanctuary. Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, all of our buddies are on. I know. I hope everybody is warm to stay safe and is able to stay safe and snug. It's so easy to disregard when it's like for us where we are in Connecticut, it was another storm in a teacup of like, oh, batten down the hatches. It's going to be the big one. Say your last goodbyes. Say a prayer. Whatever. It was nothing. It was just not. I mean, for us, it was really nothing. It was an overnight rainy kind of a night. But I know for other people, they're getting hit in a horrific way. So we'll be thinking about those people and hoping that things are going okay, smoothly. Certainly we had warning, and I'm hoping electricity and things like that are all working for people who are in areas that got hit hard, because the last thing you need is the kind of a wind-up that's dangerous without heat or electricity or communications and all of that stuff, right? So let's have a quick little look at this book. Shall we start looking at this one?
The tooth is kinda...
Yeah. Your tooth is quite bad, huh? Do you want me to tie a string around it, Tom and Jerry style, and tie the rest of it to the doorknob and then just kick the door shut? That was something my dad liked to do. Tom and Jerry style.
Actually?
Tooth extraction. What?
Actually?
Yeah.
He did that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he loved to tie. I mean, it would never stay on the tooth, but he loved to give it a try. It was fun, but I won't do that to you. Those traumatizing 1970s times, we won't do that to you. We're living in a different time now. So and if you feel like you can't sit tight for a little while, you are welcome to get some exercise out there. Up to you. I'm not evicting, but you're welcome to, because I'm going to look at this book for a few minutes, all right?
Okay.
S-
I heard it done like that.
Okay, yeah, she's going to just make weird faces as she fools with her tooth. So this is the next book that we're looking at for this week, and this is another hit out of the park. If you remember, when we reviewed the book, a different book by Anne-Marie Littenberg, it was the Landscapes book. And I distinctly remember saying, when we started looking at that book, I said, I have always had in my head the wrong conception of what a landscape is, because for me, with that book, Anne-Marie really changed the game. She showed examples of landscapes that I would never have thought of as a landscape. I had such narrow sort of tunnel vision when it came to what the definition of a landscape was. Well, guess what? She's doing the same thing with this book, Portraits. If you don't have this book yet, the reason I didn't have this book handy to review it before was because I had gotten it and I gave it to my mom because I thought I didn't have any sort of interest in hooking portraits, right? I thought this isn't one for me, but my mom loves portraits and she does a lot of watercolors too. So I thought this is going to be a much better book for her. And I didn't even really look at it. I just did one of these, And when we were making these decisions with Rug Hooking Magazine about what books to do, this one came up. And I'll tell you, looking at this book for reals is unbelievable. This is another one of these instances where you might be thinking, I can't do that. But you know what? There are other things that you might be able to do. And this is like, the book shows you a real cross-section of styles and techniques. So everybody who has contributed to this book is incredibly talented, but so are you. And you might hook in a different style like me. This is not my style either. And that's what initially, I don't want to say put me off, but made me think this wasn't the perfect fit out of the whole rug hooking library. There's so many, and I tended to keep looking at other ones. Well, that was a mistake, and I want to look at this one together now because this one is just say no to the door slamming. Martha says, "You're smarter than that, right? You would never let me do that crazy Tom and Jerry stuff." Remember this from Tom and Jerry, where Jerry would be like this, looking at something in his hand like this, and Tom would be so interested in what it was. I mean, what could it possibly be, right? Like a flea circus, and he'd be like this, and then when Tom would look, he'd punch him in the face every time. Do you remember those shows? The kids are only now knowing Tom and Jerry and the characters from that era, but they always kind of did the same things, didn't they? Very violent and very predictable. But Tom never learned, the cat, did he? He was always falling for Jerry's tricks because Jerry was much smarter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Hooked Rug Portraits by Anne-Marie Littenberg. It really is. This is a book from 2011. This is one I should have read cover to cover a long time ago. Absolutely beautiful book. And again, Anne-Marie is breaking it down into chapters that make a lot of sense, starting with chapter 1. So, a lot of logical sense. What is a hooked rug portrait? Now, this is the thing, isn't it? Because it doesn't mean it's a portrait. It could be so many things. It could be, I wonder if you recognize this astonishing image. Right, Joss wants to look too. Oh, that is, get out of there. That astonishing image. While she's eating her buttered Cheerios there. We are a house of people who, at my mother's recipe, right, my mom is on, we do a lot of 1950s hors d'oeuvre type food for meals. For example, have you had buttered Cheerios? It's Cheerios, can't be the honey ones, just the regular ones, in a pan with a ton of butter, like a whole stick, and some celery salt. And it is very hard to beat that as a snack or even a meal. So good. But this is what she has for breakfast every day. What is a hooked rug portrait? The image I just showed you has been on the cover of Rug Cooking magazine. It's been in a lot of places. Celebration. It is a very famous rug. Europa.
I love it.
I love it too. 39 by 37, hand-cut, hand-dyed wool, designed and hooked by Julie Marie Smith, Ballston Spa, New York, 1989. Really, really iconic rug at this point, right? This is like one of the most famous contemporary rugs ever. A figure from Greek mythology, Europa is bordered by swirling clouds above an undersea life below. So the world on top, the world below. Kind of like the Little Mermaid, right? Let me make sure we're in focus here. And I'm going to do our trick again with sharing the screen, but I thought just for a little while today we'll just do this. You know, this is such an interesting composition because Julie's giving us the kind of scroll work that is so reminiscent of Pearl McGowan, isn't it? This heavy scrolling border, and in these colors, right? These like pushing colors, like the mummy brown, the spice brown, you know, really, really interesting palette. Lots of shading, right, in the swirls, but then in the center giving us a real pictorial, a real story picture. And down below, that nice touch on the bottom, all that sea life. Right? I mean, it's just over the top. It's got so many elements. It's such a tight composition. It almost has the look of something that's like calligraphy piece or an illumination, right? Like the things that the monks would do with the heavily scrolled and bordered edges and a story or text in the middle. Very strong. But, you know, I would never have thought of that as a portrait. Well, of course it is. It's a picture of someone, so it is. And that's the thing about this book. It's going to redefine for us what your definition of a portrait is, because it's also animals, right? It's also animals. When I'm thinking like a ding-dong dum-dum that it's just people's faces, and I'm thinking, oh, that's the thing I enjoy the least. It takes so long to get the shading right. I'm never happy with the way it turns out. That's really not what portraits are about. So what is a hooked rug portrait? And she begins the chapter by saying, paintings and photographs may spring to mind when you think of portraits, but portraits have been created from myriad materials for as long as anyone has had the idea of making a representation of a person or an animal. So I think yeah, we'll draw the line at like plants and things like that, right? A portrait of, because I guess the thing has to have a soul or have a life, that sort of idea to be a portrait, right? Hard to define though, a bit of a moving target. Portraits have been in existence for thousands of years. In 1323 BC, Tutankhamun's portrait was carved, painted, and gilded on his wooden sarcophagus. We see this if you live near the Metropolitan Museum or any museum that has like a Egyptian wing. It's remarkable at how detailed these portraits were that sat as insets, right, in between all of the intricate braiding on these old sarcophagi, I think, right? Interesting. She talks about the ancient Romans. She talks a little bit, Anne-Marie Littenberg does a lot of nice touches with the history, too. She always gives you just enough information to kind of whet your palate, get you interested, get you maybe researching and going down some rabbit holes. But she's got such good commentary that goes along with the pictures in this book. And things like this, I want to show you this one really close up because the portrait part of it is in the crease. Aunt Eunice Comes Home, 42 by 36, again, hand-dyed, by Suzanne Dermier, I think Dirmaier, Waterbury Center, Vermont, 1995. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'll read you the text, because this is, again, a really different kind of a portrait.
I think I'm going to go to the other room.
Okay,
Bye.
we'll see you. We'll see you a little bit later when we do our sale at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just a few minutes away. So at first glance, it's a house, but then there's almost like a little sepia or, a little Victorian photo, a little portrait down at the bottom of the family. Now that's the portrait part of this. Also this beautiful border, right? You got to love a dark border, particularly with a red trim. It reminds me of an artist on Cape Cod who passed away last year who used to do this kind of a border, much, much heavier, but so effective, so effective. The beautiful family house. I guess I'll sit in my designated seat now that the Queen has departed. But it says, this rug was inspired by a photograph taken from my great-great-great Aunt Eunice, my great-grandfather C.W. Rogers, his wife Ruth, I love that name, and the dog Fido in front of the family homestead in Newport Center, Vermont. Eunice was a fire and brimstone Northern Baptist who outlived her siblings and children. That's kind of sad, isn't it? In later years, my great-aunt Mabel had a charcoal sketch made from the photo, but purposely omitted Eunice, who had told her too often to be seen and not heard. Years later, my mother gave me the original photograph and the corresponding charcoal sketch. The names hooked in the border are copied from family autographs, albums to recreate the subject's original signatures. That is fantastic. I didn't read that before. So in other words, on the border where you're seeing these signatures, that is indeed the way that these people who are in the portrait actually signed their names. And there's Aunt Eunice on the side. Isn't that fantastic? I love everything about it, but I just love the idea of uniting or unifying the idea of a family set, right? The portrait part with the house and with their signatures. It's just so satisfying and complete that way. Hello, Cindy. Good to see you. And Susie, Gayla, happy to the winners. That's right. That's right. And 3 more sets of winners this month. So hopefully we can all be winners. Now this is so cool too. This one is called Remembering. Designed and hooked by Diane Phillips of Fairport, New York, 2004. This is so beautiful. So right at the beginning of the book, we're only at the beginning of chapter 1, and Anne-Marie's already showing us some really diverse and exquisite types of portraits. This is so contemporary and colorful, palette-wise, in terms of this one. I mean, she's just showing us such a wide scope of what can be, what is out there, what you can do, and what is in this book. So just really interesting. She starts at the beginning talking about how to plan your rug hooking portrait and things to consider. For example, do you want to create a representation that is precisely faithful in appearance? Right. So the same idea as having a family picture and cutting Aunt Eunice out because she was a bit of a nasty pants. Same idea. Do you want to show the person the way that they are? For example, I now have a picture of Tara that I love in a Halloween costume, and I want to show her that way. But there are so many photos that you do want to edit people out for different reasons, not always the seen and not heard reason, but just you want a different set of people, or this one looks nice in this picture, this one looks nice in that picture, you want a composite, right? So you do want to think about, am I doing a literal copy of this, but in my fiber art, rug hooking, punch needle, whatever you do? Do you want to create an idealization emphasizing particularly admired qualities? So, what springs to mind when I read that is all of the rugs, right, over the years of George Washington or any of the founding fathers or most historic figures, right? You do get kind of an idealized view of that person. So, not taken from a portrait or official, right, sort of when people sit to have something done and you know that they are portraying themselves in exactly the way they want, the way that Van Gogh always painted. For whatever moment he was in, he gave himself the look, whether he looked like a scholar or a professor with a pipe, or he looked like a madman with his head all bandaged. He always showed you the way that he wanted you to see him at that moment. So the question becomes, when you're doing your portrait, how do you want people to see that person who you're covering in that portrait? How do you want the depiction to be? And to take that a step further, if you are going to embellish or build on it or change it in some way, that's a good time to be very thoughtful about what you would like to do, what you would like to add, whether it's to the character themselves or in the background, right? Because you can rethink the background as well. So many rugs that I've seen. We looked at one lately together that was, it must have been I think it was in the Ellen Banker book, The Hooked on Words. It was like the picture that was the inspiration was a photograph of two little kids in a parking lot with their bathing suits on. And when it was made into a hooked rug, it was exactly those two little kids with their bathing suits on, but not the parking lot, right at the shore. And it was just such a sweet sort of transposition of a different set to the two figures, right? And it was the backs of the kids like walking away toward the interest, toward the water, toward the main event. But these are all things to think about with your portrait. That house is a great example of setting up a family portrait, right? Because you're really grounding them in the family homestead. But talk about not grounded. The first one we looked at, Europa, on horseback, right? Sort of Greek mythological, metaphorical character floating in the midsection between the heavens and the sea. I mean, placement, even though we're talking about portraits, Anne Marie really makes a show of saying the place matters, right? It gives context. So be thoughtful of that too, and how literal you want to be. I remember in her book on landscapes, she said something like, do you want to be thinking about when you're, for example, hooking a landscape, taking out things that you perceive as ugly or unnecessary, superfluous information like telephone poles and wires? Or do you want to keep them in? Do they add structure? Do they add interest, texture, shape? Are they adding anything to the composition, or are they just creating more things to hook on your to-do list? So it's still the same thought, different subject now, talking about portraits, but still the same kinds of things to think about. So for example, I'm going to cut out probably in about 5 minutes. We've been going so long, but I got to get ready for our sale. Context is everything. So she's got Lance here riding his bike and an eagle flying right above him, right? So this is not a very sort of figured background, right? There's not a lot going on in terms of composition. It's a stylistic background. It's graphic. It's bold. It's more sort of a pop art background. It's got energy. And the character is the thing, and the introduction of the bird is the thing. That's another thing, right? When you say, like, I want to hook Lance Armstrong, what do I want to put in with it? And then for the author of this one, for the hooker, Laura Pierce of Petaluma, California, 2005, designed and hooked by Laura. In her mind, she was like, I want to do Lance and I want to have an eagle, right? So then those two things become the main part of the composition. Did she want to add all endless roads or a city center driving, like riding the, do they still call it a marathon when you're on a bike? It's a bike race, but does it have a word, a bike race? Like marathon? I'm trying to think. I mean, I know the Tour de Force and Tour de France, and I know there's specific names of them, but I wonder if there's doesn't matter. But she didn't want to make a busy background with a cityscape or people watching on the sidelines. She wanted to create this very shape-driven, simple background that accentuated the bird and the rider. And now another composition. This one is by The Morning Things Change. Sorry, that'd be a great title though, right? The Morning Things Changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Number 4 cut, designed and hooked, again by Suzanne I want to say Dermier. I'm probably saying that wrong. Dirmaier, Waterbury Center, Vermont. This is another beautiful one that is a portrait. several people that has a real sense of place. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. I mean, it's just so beautiful. The front porch. How often on this show do we talk about the front porch? The 20th century loss of the front porch and the introduction of the back patio, right? A way of saying privacy, not interested in you, not interested in strangers walking by who might want to say hello. We're taking it to the backyard now where you can't reach us. Just a strange way that things have evolved in recent years. But loving this scene out on the front porch, distant water, very sort of idyllic, almost summertimey scene, right? All the possibilities of being in a setting like this and having buddies around, people who you want to talk to around. Really, really beautiful, anchoring those characters forever in this composition in terms of portraiture, but also adding a beautiful background that probably means a lot to Suzanne. So she writes, Mallett's Bay on Lake Champlain, Vermont, one of my favorite places, right? Still looking for Champ, right? The sea monster out there. On Lake Champlain, Vermont, is home to a summer cabin that has been owned continuously by the same family since 1907. The current occupants enjoy many of the same rituals of their forebears, including gathering on the porch for cocktails during warm summer evenings. That sounds so nice. This rug was inspired by an old photo of such a gathering from an earlier time. Suzanne did not copy the photo. Rather, she adapted the element she found most interesting and appropriate to her composition. She eliminates figures from the original photo and changed the background to make it more pleasing. In addition, she designed one of the figures to resemble the current mistress of the cabin. While drawn to the ideas embodied by the original photo, Suzanne was not hampered by reality. She used her artistic vision to redesign the composition and adhere to her own vision. So that is so interesting and important. That whole thought, right, that was just put out in that one paragraph, that the idea for this rug comes from an old photo, and the fact that in this old photo, these are the old timers, right? We can tell by the clothing. The costume is quite dated. So this is the old view, but she's making the point that nowadays people still sit out and have cocktails. They're doing the exact same thing many years later. The more things change, the more they stay the same, right? This need to sit and talk is eternal, right? This is like the mark of humanity, is wanting to connect and sit and spend some time. So, I mean, the fact that I would love to see the original photo. I don't think it's here unless it's on the next page. I would love to see the original photo because I would be so curious, because I'm not technically great, right? I'm not super good at making decisions like this myself. I tend to be more of a collector as I am in most of my life, where I want more, all, lots of everything. But it's important to be thoughtful about what you're leaving and what you're taking, because it's going to also affect the narrative, right? The story that's being told here. If there are too many people crowding in, as maybe there were in the photo, I know, I'm looking out for the time. I'm getting the old, I got my watch on. If there were many people crowded in, as it sounds like there might have been in the original photo, you might have been looking at people's backs. It might have been distracting from the composition. And beyond that, it might have killed the mood, right? This is a very peaceful mood. And the point is they're having a nice conversation outside on the porch. If there were a lot of bodies in there, you might be thinking, what is this, like a parade? What are they looking at? What's everybody looking at? It would have been distracting. So I think the core of the story is still here. It sounds like all of the elements that were originally in the photo were put into a crucible, burnt down, and the things that were the most important to tell this story were the things that remained, right? I'll do one more, and then I'll get out there. So again, we are just at the beginning of this book, and I want to look at quite a bit of it. This one is by Rachel LeBlanc, St. Albert, Alberta, Canada, and she is, as you know, so good, and so well known for her portraits and teaching how to hook portraits too. So this is called Under September Sky, hand-dyed wool on linen. Okay, exceptional, 2010. Rachel believes in capturing those moments in life that remind us we should all take time to see the beauty that surrounds us. Interest is added to the composition by having one foot rest on the edge Okay, so this is interesting. This is just a great composition move. What it's about to say is that we're looking at this one here. Part of the interest of this composition, part of the thing that makes it so immediate and real, right, is that the feet are both breaking the border. And one of them is coming forward toward us. So it almost gives her, I don't want to say an overgrown, but it gives the impression that she's right there with you. And it gives it an immediacy that it wouldn't have if she was all boxed up in a frame, right? Boxing Elena. If she was all boxed up in a frame, it would be, look at this picture of this girl inside the frame, instead with her breaking the border the way that she is, and it's her feet, right? Which is kind of a story in and of itself. Her feet are creeping towards you. It's like the commitment of being closer, right? Her little feet are marching in your direction. It's a sweet sentiment. It's a great composition, and it's an incredibly beautiful piece. Those trees in the background have a very sort of Van Gogh / Cezanne look. Just the straw-colored ground, the rust colors, so pretty. And again, a very different kind of a portrait. And since that one showed up on camera, let me show you something on that too. What I really love about this book that I'm really getting into now, we're looking at it together, is the different places that these compositions are pulling from. It's like this one looks like it's pulling from a photo for me. And the last one was too. It was just a very old photo. So it's just neat to stop and think about, if you're going to create a rug that includes a person or an animal, a portrait rug, it's so neat to stop and think, what can I pull from? Because it's very nice if it's your own family. Obviously, it's extra special, but it doesn't have to be. If there's an image that you have from an old magazine or something that's been haunting you, that's something you could think about. How can I work this into a composition? This is exactly what we're going to be talking about all week this week. So this one is called Fatherhood, Papa. Oh, also Rachel LeBlanc. Yep, also 2007, this one. This one is so sweet. This rug is the first in a series titled Fleeting Moments, according to Rachel. The series explores the passing moments that remind us of something precious, something that is hard to identify and thought forgotten. The rug was inspired by a photo taken of Rachel's husband and the newborn daughter. She had been crying all day, and the minute he took her in his arms, she fell right asleep. I love the body language. It's like the little prawn slumped over right on Papa's shoulder. They get so mushy, like a little collapsed prawn, right over. That's such a pretty shape too. The way the baby's fitting on his shoulder, such a pretty shape. So lots to think about and talk about this week. We will be looking at this book on portraits. I'm right at the end of the chapter. Let me see. We're hitting chapter 2 on the next. I like a nice, clean beginning and end. I'll show you these two. No, I can't. There's too many cute ones coming up. We will return to this, and I'm going to busy myself with getting ready for the lots. I have all my lots out here, so we are ready to be organized. We're going to be doing this live on Facebook at 1, which is in about 15 minutes. It is not an auction. I will tell you what I'm asking for the things. 20, 20, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10, almost all 10s. Some of these are quite rare patterns. And I'm sorry if you're not on Facebook. It's very hard to make these things work for everybody. We'll do some in future because I have lots of patterns. We have lots of things that we can sell in these like sort of pop-up sales, right? Except this one was announced, and hopefully you caught wind of it. So we'll be back on in about 15 minutes live. I'm going to have Jocelyn's help out there. Sounds like the earth is moving, and there's a tribe of thundering hippos running through the room, so I guess they're moving tables around. I'll see you in just a few minutes, and we'll look at some of those lots together and see if there's anything that you can use. Shipping is always extra, of course, right? Because for $10, that would be shipping. So it depends on what you're getting. Things that are under £1, I send first class, so it's more like $4. But I'll never rake you with shipping. Just no reason to play those games. So we're going to be doing that in a few minutes. And otherwise, I will see you back tomorrow on Tuesday for Coffee Time again. We will be looking at portraits. We'll be looking at the next chapter, some more ideas from Anne-Marie, some more great takeaways from this great book. And in the meantime, I will also put up a link for the giveaway of this book, and you have a full week to comment on that thread. This time, why don't you comment with something like, just where you're from. You don't have to say your street address, but just where you're from, because I continue to be interested in who's near me, right? It's like a monster movie. Who's right behind you? I would love to know, because if you're anywhere near me, I'm in Hamden, Connecticut, and my studio's in Bethany, Connecticut. If you're anywhere near here, particularly because I travel so much, I would love to get together sometimes, and I bet a lot of people feel like that. So how about when I post the video, and I'll remind you in the video, for this book giveaway, 3 winners again this coming week, why don't you say where you're from or something about the place that you're from so that we know a little bit more about you? That would be fun for me to read. So have a great afternoon, everybody. Thumbs up, please. And really good collection of art in that book. Absolutely, Linda. Yeah, these are all great. I'm sorry I wasn't looking for a while. These are all beautiful images we were looking at this morning. Oh, Barbara, great to see you. Great to see you. So, oh, Marilyn, great to see you too. So I will be live in a few minutes. If you are there, good luck. I hope it's going to be the first person who shouts out gets it, right? And then I'm probably going to detonate the video soon after, because I think it confused a lot of people this week that they thought it was live at that moment that they were watching it. So let's see how many things we can get rid of that can find their forever home. And then I'll probably delete the video, and I will announce in the future when we're going to do another one of these. So see you soon for that. Otherwise, see you tomorrow, same time, same place, Ribbon Candy Hooking Channel at noon Eastern